Hey guys, this is the Anime Fiend bringing to you today One Piece discussion video. And well, what are we gonna discuss in this video? Of course, the potential Straw Hat crewmates from Wano. And well, I'm just gonna, brief on like what are the points of them joining and not joining the crew. Like, I'm gonna go with the, odds of them joining and odds of them not joining as well. Like, yeah, of course, there are three major players, three major candidates for the next Straw Hats from Wano, and of course, you know who they are, and we'll brief on who is most likely to join among them. Now, of course, I got this topic by discussing it with my friends on the Discord. Of course, not my Discord, but the Great Sensei's Discord. So you gotta join there and discuss it with us. So it will be fun, man. It will be fun. But of course, anyways. The first candidate that I'm gonna talk about is, of course, the son of the legendary samurai Kozuki Oden himself, and he's, of course, Kozuki Momonosuke, or like, I wanna say Crybaby Momonosuke, but I mean, let's just cut him some slack, right? Of course, he's just 8, so that is fair for him to cry, of course. Now, what are the major points that people talk about, or the story tells us that Momonosuke might actually join the Straw Hats? And of course, the first one is, well, he is Odin's son, and Odin, of course, joined Whitebeard and, of course, Roger. And yeah, well, he'll just parallel Odin because he is Odin's son, and he also has, the power of voice of all things, just like Odin had, and it would parallel the pair of Roger and Odin both having the same power, as well as Luffy and Momonosuke, right? So that would be a great parallel. Now, another point of making Momonosuke a good candidate for the Straw Hats is the connection of Kozuki and the Poneglyphs. Of course, we know that the Kozuki family made the Poneglyphs, and of course, we also know that Odin was the one who translated the Poneglyphs to Roger and helped him in his journey to get to Raftel and become the Pirate King. So again, why not Momonosuke? Why wouldn't he join to represent that Kozuki family, that lineage of course, the great stonemasons who actually made the poneglyphs? And the last point is, of course, it would be a great parallel to Shanks and Buggy, just like Shanks and Buggy were, the apprentice pirates of Roger, and and of course, just like Kaido was an apprentice of Rocks, Momonosuke could be an apprentice of the Straw Hat. So that would be again a good parallel. So basically, to summarize it, right, it would be like Momonosuke representing the Kozuki and Odin's will, and of course, again, it would be similar to Buggy and Shanks. So, yeah, there is a huge chance of Momonosuke joining the Straw Hat Pirates. But, yeah, of course, there is a but. But now we're gonna discuss on what are the odds that Momonosuke doesn't actually join the Straw Hats. Now, the first major point is, of course, him not reaching or not being as great as Odin himself. I mean, it has been stated multiple times that he isn't Odin, and yeah, he just cannot reach to the level or cannot be what Odin was, right? Because Odin was a phenomenal man, just like Whitebeard told us, right? I mean, he was dope. He was dope. I mean, look how many people love him. Whitebeard, Roger, Kaido. Like, yeah, he was a phenomenal dude. And Momo can never be that. And I think his moment of growth wouldn't be that he would be as badass as Odin. I think his moment of growth would be like, yes, I'm not Odin. Yes, I won't be as awesome as that. But that doesn't mean I'm trash, right? That doesn't mean I'm useless. I could be helpful in a different way, and I will strive to be the best that I could be, not like what Odin was, right? So I think his moment of glory would be realizing that he is his own man and he's not Odin. Because, yes, Odin was this phenomenal dude and he was awesome and stuff, but Odin also was kind of a failure, right? He never was the daimyo or the leader that people wanted him to be. Yes, he was an awesome crewmate for Whitebeard. He was a he was an awesome translator for Roger. He was a fucking phenomenal swordsman, but he never was a great leader for Wano or the Scabbards. I mean, of course, he sacrificed himself gloriously at the end, but if he was there from the beginning, you know, Wano wouldn't have been in this state at this point. So, yes, he was kind of a failure despite being that great man. So, Momo doesn't have to be that great man. He just have to be a great leader that actually, makes Wano prosper once again. Because right now I think, making Wano great again would be a better idea than, you know, being selfish again and going on his own journey. I know people are saying Hiyori would do that, Hiyori would be the leader, but I think, you see, as I see the story, right, I think it indicates that the older generation's failures are gonna be surpassed by the younger generation. So, all Odin failed at was being a leader, and I think Momo would surpass that. And even if Hiyori is the leader, I think Momo would stand there by her side and do the work. So, yeah, I think that's that, right? And the point of Momo representing the Kozuki side of the history, the poneglyphs and stuff, yeah, I don't think Momo is gonna contribute to anything of that because the Straw Hats have Robin. So, yeah, I don't see anybody else other than Robin doing anything with the history. So, yeah, again, I don't think, that's very logical. Now, coming to the second candidate, and that is, of course, Tama. And, well, of course, we all like Tama and her, very, very sad story, right? I mean, as soon as Tama came in, like, I think she became a fan favorite. So, yeah, a lot of the people like Tama to join because, of course, the main reason, and I think the only reason we have for Tama is Ace actually promised Tama to take her out on a journey and end her suffering because, of course, Wano is, or at least even at that point, was a bad shit crazy place, right? So, yeah, Ace, of course, couldn't deal with Kaido and stuff, so he just, he promised Tama to take on a great journey, but because at the time she was too small, he couldn't take her on a pirate's journey, right? I mean, that's dangerous. So, of course, he promised her to, take her on a journey if she, grows up and she becomes a, konoichi and stuff. We see her story, right? I mean, like, she is training her whole life to be a konoichi, just to go on a journey with Ace. She's just, yeah, she's just dedicated, and she actually, wants to free Wano someday because, of course, it's her country and stuff. So, yes, so parallels here are just, they're unmatched. I think Odin's connection to Roger, that is, yes, that is a great connection, but I think Ace's connection to Luffy is more strong, right? It's more, awesome of a parallel. So, yeah, Luffy actually fulfilling Ace's promise of, taking Tama on a great journey and of, freeing Tama's country, that is of course Wano, by defeating Kaido, is even more great of a parallel compared to, Odin and Roger, right? So yeah, this parallel is just phenomenal, and yeah, this actually makes Tama's chance of joining the Straw Hats even greater. And of course, to add to that, she also could represent, Buggy and Shanks, just like Momo could have done, right? So, by being an apprentice pirate to the Straw Hat. So, yeah, the parallels are just unmatched here. Now, of course, I'm not gonna deny that, of course, there was both Shanks and Buggy, so there could be both, Tama and Momo. Shanks would be Tama and Momo would be Buggy, so yeah. Yeah. Well, now we'll see some points where Tama wouldn't actually join the Straw Hats, right? And well, there aren't as many points as there was for Momo, but of course, right? And I think the major point here would be like, see, the main reason Ace actually promised Tama to go on take her on a journey, right? That was because Wano was a shitty place to live in, and it was just, you know, we know what Tama's story was, right? It was sad. She couldn't even eat, she couldn't even drink fresh water. So, of course, because of that, she wanted to join Ace, right? And Ace wanted to free her of that burden. But you see, if Luffy actually defeats Kaido and frees Wano of its burden, then I don't see a reason why Tama should leave and sacrifice that, freedom, right? Of course, the pirates are free to do anything, but at this point where the Straw Hats are at, like, I don't see the journey being some jolly good pirate's journey, right? Like, right now after Wano, the plot is gonna grow south. Like, of course, Blackbeard is gonna do something super crazy, the world government are gonna do something crazy, and whatever the One Piece is after that, there's gonna be the biggest war the world has ever seen. So yeah, right now, Tama joining the crew, yeah, it would actually not be logical, because you see, it's gonna be a shitty journey at this point, like, at least till the end of the final war, right? Of course, after that, again, the Straw Hats aren't gonna just go and disband, because of course they're gonna go and live up to what they actually wanted, because what Luffy wanted was to be the freest man on the sea, right? So yeah, them disbanding just after becoming the Pirate King, yeah, Luffy is not that kind of a man. So yeah, at that point, I understand, but like right now, I don't see why, after freeing Wano, Tama should just sacrifice that newfound freedom just because Ace promised her to take her on a journey, right? And well, there's another thing which, it's not my theory. I mean, I just read it on I just read it on Reddit. So, yeah, I mean, some people think Tama is gonna be a Kurozumi, and yeah, I think I actually like that theory, right? I think, Orochi, he became evil because the Wano people actually prosecuted the Kurozumi. So yeah, I don't think at this point, Orochi or of course Kanjuro are gonna, be the ray of sunshine to redeem the Kurozumi family, right? Even if they're alive, right? Even if they're alive, like, yeah, maybe they would flip and help the Kozuki right now, but I don't see them, representing the good side of the Kurozumi. So I think it would be a great point to show that yes, Tama is a Kurozumi, and of course, she already is friends with Momo right now. So, yeah, they could be a great inspiration to Wano by showing, like, yes, we can grow, right? Yes, we will embrace Tama again. Yes, we will, forget all the previous bad shit crazy things that, the Kurozumi people did, and of course, what we did to the Kurozumi people. So I think that would be a great point. But again, there's no proof in the story to indicate that. So I won't say that's gonna happen for sure, but what I will say is yes, I would like that point to be made, right? I would like that plot to happen. So, anyways, of course, we get to the third candidate in this video, and that is, of course, the daughter of the strongest creature alive, and that is, of course, Yamato. And well, I think right now she is the fan favorite candidate to actually join the Straw Hats. So well, let's discuss on her points of being a Straw Hat. Now, the first obvious thing is, of course, her inheriting the will of Odin, because she is a huge fan of Odin, or you could even say the biggest fan of Odin. So, yeah, of course, she even cosplays as him. She even claims she herself is Odin, right? She actually prefers that everyone call her Odin, not Yamato. So, yeah, I think, she just loves Odin, and yeah, I think she would be the one to inherit Odin's will, right? And of course, she also has Odin's logbook, and she knows, Odin's journey. She knows what Odin did with Whitebeard. She knows what Odin did with Roger. So I think Odin's parallel of him, going on a journey with the greatest pirates ever, I think that parallel would be represented by Yamato, just like how Odin being a leader and to the Wano people and to the Scabbards would be represented by Momo. I think his side of his journey, I think that would be represented by Yamato. So I think that is a great parallel there, right? And well, the other point of Yamato actually joining the Straw Hats is, of course, just like Tama is also promised Yamato to take her on a journey, but of course, because Yamato couldn't leave Onigashima, she wasn't able to go on a journey with Ace. I mean, yeah, so that parallel is also strong here. So basically, what I'm saying is Yamato's chances of joining the Straw Hats, yeah, that actually represents the combined chances of Momo and Tama joining the Straw Hats. So her joining the Straw Hats is like super huge. Like those chances are super high. Like like I don't see many people like saying, well, that is not logical, or that's even less of a chance. No, like the her chances of joining is like super high, right? And of course, she also asked Luffy just like Odin asked Whitebeard. So, yeah, the parallels are just unmatched here. But of course, we gotta talk about her chance of not joining the crew. And I think that actually ties to her, her idolizing Odin, right? I think she idolizes Odin so much that she actually considers herself to be Odin, and she considers she gotta do everything that Odin did so that she could be as great as him. But I think her moment of growth would come at a point where she actually understands that no, it's not by being Odin but being herself that she's gonna grow, right? By being herself and by doing something that only she could do, or maybe not like only she could do, but doing something that represents that yes, she is the one who did that thing, or who saved that person, or who defeated that person, and not just by being Odin. So I see only that point, right? Like I see her finally saying, "Yes, I'm not Odin. I'm Yamato. I'm my own person." So I would not parallel Odin right now. I'll just be myself and do what actually I want, and not just just do something because Odin did. But I could also see her becoming a Kozuki retainer by, protecting Momonosuke, because of course she just wants to protect Odin's son and Odin's family and make Wano prosper. But she could also maybe, after Kaido is defeated, maybe she could finally, be herself and maybe take over the Beast Pirates. Of course, not no longer being a Yonko crew, but something just like what Marco did. Maybe take the Beast Pirates to a new direction, right? Maybe. And of course, the big guns like King, Queen, Jack, and stuff aren't gonna, just follow her. But yeah, I think, she could take the crew to a great new direction, and maybe, maybe even join the Strawhat Grand Fleet. But of course, as you can see my arguments, right? I think Yamato has the greatest chance of actually joining the Straw Hats, right? Like, even if she grows out of this Odin phase, even if she is herself, her own story is like she wants to be free, right? Because Kaido obviously imprisoned her to just be on Onigashima. She had those cuffs all her life, so of course she herself wants to be free and go on a great journey. So yeah, I mean, she could still join the Straw Hats. Now, this video, of course, was majorly Wano and Odin related, right? Of who is gonna represent Odin and Wano, who's gonna join the Straw Hats carrying their burdens, right? But of course, my friends also wanted me to mention Carrot and the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. But well, all right, let's talk about Carrot, right? Her main point of joining is of course Pedro, and because Pedro loved the Roger Pirates, he actually saw the greatness that the Straw Hats were, right? He even in his last final speech, right? He said like, just protect the Straw Hats because they are gonna be the greatest crew that the world has ever seen, right? So of course that parallel is huge. And of course, he, sacrificed his own life to protect the Straw Hats. So, yes, Carrot being his student, she also wants to protect the Straw Hats and, live up to what Pedro was. But yeah, I can see only that parallel of Carrot, having anything to join the Straw Hats, right? But Now, let's see what's the point of her maybe not joining the Straw Hats. The first point is, of course, Pedro himself never joined the Roger Pirates, right? He just was inspired by them, but he never himself joined the pirate crew. And another parallel, if you could say, like, yes, the Minx joining the Roger Pirates was, it could be a parallel of Carrot joining, right? But to that again, the Minx never actually journeyed to Raftel, and I think right now the Straw Hats journey is at that point, right? Like at the end. So again, because they never joined, it, there is no parallel for that. So yeah. And again, right? Another thing, I think this is my main point, is that you see, the Minks actually are subservient to the Kozuki family. So I think the Minx's duty or the Minx's goals would actually align with the Kozuki, and that is, of course, to make Wano prosper again, right? Like to make Wano awesome and a place to actually live in. And I think the Minx would be dedicated to actually, support and help Wano. So you see, those are my points for all the candidates, right? But my final point to finish out the video would actually be like, you see, there's a thing called the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, right? So, you see, all of the candidates at this point that I mentioned, and even more, right, could actually make another Straw Hat Grand Fleet crew, maybe led by Yamato, to just go on a journey with the Straw Hats and help them out in their journey, right? Like, yeah, they could be the eighth Straw Hat Grand Fleet ship, right? That would be dope. So if I said like this particular candidate cannot join the Straw Hat crew, or this can join, that doesn't mean it's concrete, and that also doesn't mean they can't be included in the Grand Fleet. Of course, they Kozuki and the Minx are a great ally to the Straw Hat pirates. So of course there is a huge chance of them making the eighth ship, where there would be the samurai and Minx kind of representing their side of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. So yeah, that would be dope, right? So of course. And again, the last point I want to make is that even if somebody joins, or even if somebody doesn't join, doesn't make their character arc like done, right? Of course they could still grow, of course they could still be a great ally to the Straw Hats, right? So don't think that, yeah, if your favorite character, or any character, if they don't join the Straw Hats, their journey is done and they're not gonna grow. Of course their character growth would still be on, and yeah, just just don't be sad that they don't join the Straw Hat crew. So anyways, of course, if you think the video is good, then of course like, share, subscribe, and I'll well really appreciate you guys supporting me in that way, helping me out and stuff, right? But of course, an added feature. Yeah, I made my Patreon, right? I mean, yeah, so look, if you want to support beyond just liking and sharing my videos and watching them, maybe you could sign up on my Patreon, right? I mean, it's not much for now. It's just like there's only one tier in it, like only €1 per month and stuff, so it's not much. But again, I'm not doing much either, so I think that's fair, right? But of course, you don't have to do that. It's just like, if you want to support even more, then only then you gotta sign up on my Patreon. But of course, liking, watching my videos, and sharing them, and subscribing to my channel is enough. But of course, if you want more, then there you go. But anyways, as always, until next time, peace.